Hi everyone, it's your favorite person Seashell here, and I know I have been away for some time and I do apologize about that, but I've been having some things go on in my life and needing a little bit of uplifting and motivation and encouragement because I was very much discouraged. But I have really been picking myself back up and listening to my own podcast and really getting motivated and inspired by some of the words that I have said previously. So I'm hoping that if you are going through anything in your life, that you are inspired by things that you hear on my podcast. And I totally hope you're going to be inspired by this particular message that I have for you today. This message is about some of the ways that the universe and God can inspire you and give you the motivation and inspiration that you need to keep moving along in life, even when things feel like they're slowing you down or something's just not feeling so great. There are things and messages that are out there that I want to talk to you today about so that you can learn how to draw upon those messages and get that inspiration needed that give you just a lot of hope and it just kind of lifts you up and makes you feel a whole lot better about whatever it is that you might be going through. I'll start by saying that through my own personal journey of, learning to self-love and to grab that power that I have within myself that I let go a long time ago. It has been, some ups and some downs during my journey because there is some things called self-doubt and sabotaging yourself to kind of make you feel, or actual circumstances that happen to you that make you feel like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was moving so well up on this journey and now I feel like everything has stopped and I don't know what to do. So I think a lot of times when that happens, it's just making room for you to continue to grow, making room for you to look at what you might be doing in your life, any habits or anything that you might need to reflect and change on. So you could take that time, reflect on it, make those changes, and get back on that good path so that you can keep moving forward to your life and your mission, your purpose of what you're going to do. If you listen to my channel, you know that I am very much driven by what your purpose is, and I really think that life is just so much better when you know and you're living and doing what your purpose is and what your mission is on in your life. And one of the things that I am excited about on my own purpose and mission is that I am helping other people who might be experiencing some of the things that I go through. So I'm going to be very vulnerable and tell you that one thing that I have been working on in my life that I'm not sure I have really dealt with a lot on my channel. And it's been for a reason, because it's very personal to me, but I don't mind opening up about this particular situation. So with me, I am one of those individuals who has had some particular drama during childhood that really impacted the way that I interact and connect with people in general. So I was being attacked as a young girl at the age of 8 by someone who constantly attacked me from the years of age 8 through age 12. So it wasn't anything that happened like one or two times. This was happening multiple times. Every time I would see this individual at the age of 8 years old, I actually literally would run and try to hide to get away from this individual because of the attacks. And so by the time I first started having these things happen to me, I was too young to really know that I could ask for help in this situation and get like a grown up to kind of get me out of this situation where I didn't have to like run and defend and try to hide and keep myself from being attacked. But I didn't. So I taught myself that, if someone is attacking you or something's going on, nobody's going to see that you need help. You just got to figure out how to deal with it yourself, and hopefully you'll be okay. And so I found it really hard as I grew older to ask people for help. If trouble came my way, I really very much wanted to avoid any problems or issues. I didn't want to deal with them. I actually used to run from conflict. So anytime I get in a particular situation and it's making me uncomfortable, it makes me feel bad, it kind of reminds me of when I was that age and being attacked and didn't know what else to do other than to run away from it. So a lot of times that's how I would handle grown-up situations, or get into a situation with somebody. If there was a conflict or anything, instead of like dealing with it or asking for help or getting somebody to help me out with it, I ran away from those particular situations, or I figured out a way to avoid it completely. And so on my personal journey, I started confronting the fact that I do that, because what happens is when people know that you don't like that conflict, or they know that they can do things to you, and you don't say anything, you don't stand up for yourself, you don't figure out a solution to not be put in that type of situation, people take advantage. And I was being put in a situation where people were just always coming to me and saying things to me and doing things to me, and it would just make me feel really, really bad. I would feel like, man, there's just like nobody here to help me. I don't feel supported. I don't feel like I can turn to anybody. I just got to deal with this bad stuff. It's making me feel really horrible, and I don't know what to do. And then when I would talk to people about the situation, people would get frustrated with me, because they'd be like, well, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you do something about it? Why didn't you figure out like what you could actually do to get yourself out of that situation? And my natural response would be like, well, you're not helping me. That's not help. Like, why don't you come and help me fight the battle? Like, if that's what real help would be. Like, don't yell at me for not saying anything. But as I started to really like understand why I do that, and understand that I need to stand up for myself, I can't expect other people to fight my battles or expect people to stand up for me in different situations. I started learning how to do that a little bit more effectively. And that's been my personal journey to really improve on protecting myself. Now, when you have gone through a traumatic situation like that for years, and it happened early on in your childhood, and you never talked to anybody about it, you never gotten like the right help or resources or tools or skills to know how to get out of that situation or handle things when things go bad. When you don't know the right tools to do things like that, it takes a little while for you to get the courage and the encouragement to get up and stand up and do things that needs to be done to protect yourself. And so my journey has been a long one on learning how to stand up and speak out and speak up for myself in different situations. So recently, I have been seeing a lot of numbers. I would dream about these numbers. I would see them like on a day. It would be the same series of numbers, and it would be like an email that I would see, and then like a few minutes later, I would get a text message, or I would get a phone call, and the last numbers matched the number that was on the email. And then I would look at the time, and the time, everything is like the same. The sequence is the same, and these things are repeating themselves. And at first I thought, ooh, I am lucky. I'm getting ready to win the lottery. I need to write these numbers down because they were coming fast and furious, like on a daily, every other day basis. I would go to sleep and I would dream about these numbers. I would write them on my notepad, and then I'd see them throughout the day. So I'd be like, yep, that's the number I need to get. Well, let me tell you, it wasn't that I was supposed to take those numbers and play the lottery, because never ever did I win a lottery off of those numbers. But in talking to some of my family about this situation, it was suggested that maybe I should look up the meaning of those numbers. And I did that, and I discovered what is called an angel number. And as I would get these numbers, I would put in angel number and the number that I would see on a repetitive basis. And whatever it was in my life that I was going through at that time, or anything that I was focused on, it would seem like a message was personally delivered to me based on whatever my situation was. Now, if you don't believe in stuff like this, I want to encourage you to still look it up and just get just the motivation and inspiration, because the messages that you receive regarding these numbers and how closely they tie to whatever is going on in your life is simply amazing. So as I was going on my journey on, standing up for myself and speaking out, I would come across these people in my life that really, I was very fearful of these people. I'm very afraid to say what I'm thinking and speak out loud on my behalf. And I was just being really, really fearful of it. And there were a couple of incidents where one person in particular, I would say something, and it was draining me. I felt like a whole lot of anxiety having this conversation and trying to say, what's on my mind without us getting into a major conflict about the situation. And as much as I wanted to run away from the situation, I just made myself stay there, and it just felt really bad. It felt really bad to be in that moment of conflict. However, there would be days where I just would give up on that conflict, on that conversation, because it was just overwhelming. It was just too much. And so right after that happened, I was just getting a little discouraged, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is just not the self motivation or the self journey that I need to be on. There's something else in my life I need to focus on, because this is just not it. Well, right when I was saying that, I started praying. I started saying daily affirmations about other areas of my life that I wanted to focus on or feel better on. But that would always be in the back of my mind. Around that time, I started dreaming about the number 121. And I would see the number throughout the day in various sequences, through emails, through text messages, phone numbers. I would see that number 121, the time. So I was like, okay, I probably need to look up angel number 121. And let me tell you what angel number 121 said, and why this is a very significant message for me in this journey, and a nice reminder of why I should keep going with this whole self journey of confronting my fears on conflict. So the number 1 represents new beginnings, manifestation, creation, progress, pursuing goals, achievements, motivation, creativity, self-reliance, independence, and creating your own reality with your beliefs, thoughts, and actions. Number 2 signifies balance, devotion, quality, duality, relationships, partnerships, adaptability, diplomacy, selflessness, and sensitivity. It also signifies trust and faith, as well as serving your soul's purpose and mission. When you put 121 together, that signifies focus, diplomacy, independence, and self-sufficiency. This number also symbolizes creating a solid foundation for your own future and the future of your family. When I read that message, I knew instantly that I was on the right path, and that this was the thing I needed to focus on. I needed to focus on continuing to confront my fears, taking back my power, working on standing up for myself and speaking out on behalf of myself. And I can tell you that when I listened to that message and I applied it to my situation and I stopped running from that particular conflict, stopped trying to avoid conflict overall, it really did make a significant impact on me, even recently. Now, it's not that I want to argue with people, but I am definitely not letting people just get away with things. Like, it was a normal occurrence for me that if somebody wanted to do something or wanted me to do something that I didn't even feel like I really wanted to do, because they were asking and because I didn't want to make them upset or because I didn't want to just get into a conflict about why I don't want to do it, I would just take on things, and it was just overwhelming me, and it was really, really like causing some things in my spirit. And another part of this message, when I was reading on, like, it gives you a long series of things to think about when you're looking at the meaning of those numbers. And in the discovery on that particular number, it said that I needed to shift my focus and really work on changing bad habits, because it's going to lead me closer to what my purpose and what my mission and everything else that I need in my life to get that financial stability, to help me with my family and the things that the goals that I have for my life. That I needed to be taking time out to focus on those things that are bad habits or things that I need to fix in order to experience some greatness in my life. And I just wanted to encourage you that if you are going through anything like this, you should be encouraged that you need to keep focusing on it, keep doing the things even when it feels uncomfortable. Keep doing it, because in the end, you're going to get closer and closer to doing something and be promoted to doing something even better in your life. That's just going to reward you, and you're going to feel so much better in the end. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm feeling much better. Like I said, this week has been pretty amazing with how I have been responding, things that I'm asking for, things that I'm no longer afraid to push back on if they don't make sense for me to do it. And it's making my life so much happier, and it's like lifting burdens off of my shoulders. So I encourage you, the next time you see a sequence of numbers in your given day, look up the angel number behind that number, and that will give you meaning, that will give you motivation, that will give you inspiration to keep moving forward in your life and to do what you need to do to move forward, be inspired, and be blessed with whatever it is that's going on in your life. So thank you for listening. I'm back. And I'm sorry, this message is a little bit longer than my typical messages, but I thank you for hanging in there. I thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will be back very soon with another motivational, inspirational video. Have a great one.